Hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm glad and excited to be back. Thank you so much for coming. You're so much welcome. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for the ones that are new to this place. You're so much welcome. This is a nice place. It's a place we come sit. It's a place we come learn. It's a place we come teach one another about life. Because in one or another, we need each other in this life. So you're much welcome. Feel at home. Thank you so much for coming. And today is another day that we have come here with a good talk. A talk that I know engages each and every one of us. And as the channel goes by, we are all about looking at life together. Things that we get to at times to ignore in life, and in one or another, they are very important. Today we'll be talking about life virtues, or things that we need to emulate, things that we need to learn to have that interpersonal relation with the other person. Because one thing we can get to know in life, we'll always be with people. Wherever we are at, there is no given time that you can say that you'll be alone. May it be in our homes, may it be in our workplace, may it be in our churches, any in this nation. One thing that we know about, you have to be with someone. And it's very key and it's very important at times to get to know how at times it's easy, and it's very important to know to live with the other person. Minding the other person, it goes a long way. And I know in life, there are so many virtues that are required of us as human beings. And today, I'd like us to now touch on one. And I'd like us to talk about wisdom. Wisdom is a virtue that is very important. Wisdom is, as it sounds, it's just being wise, knowing how to articulate your relation to the other person. Just having that thought of how you handle things, how you handle the other person, how you are able to make judgment about maybe how people talk to you, judgment about how people maybe address a certain issue. It's all about judgment, because it's through our wisdom we are able to judge something, or we are able even maybe to make a decision. You are able maybe to conclude on something because you have judged it according to your own wisdom. And at times, it is a way we become sensitive to some issues, the way at times you're able to mind the other person. It takes a lot of wisdom. And today we'll be talking about the kind of things that are involved in that art of wisdom that you needed to be having. Because with wisdom, and as even we see in the Bible, when Solomon was asked by God that whatever he wanted, he told God that he needed wisdom. Because in one way or another, he knew how wisdom is very important. He had an option of maybe getting any other thing in this life, may it be wealth, may it be maybe any other thing that a human being would wish. But when God asked him the most important thing that he needed, he said that he needed wisdom. Wisdom is something that is very key. It's something that is very important. And at times, we don't get wisdom from maybe books, or knowledge is gotten from books and from learning. But wisdom is something that life teaches us, and at times, it's something that maybe you're born with, and at times you have to keep on emulating things that are needed in wisdom, because wisdom is something that is very key. And it's also always at times good to always tell God to give you wisdom, because it helps a lot, especially in life decisions, in judgment of things, in relation with people. It goes a long way. And there are so many things at times that are needed in life, interpersonally, in relation with the other person, but that wisdom is very needed. And I would like to touch on things that I feel, according to me, it's important to be sensitive to them. One and foremost, I like to talk about communication, because how we get to communicate, they tell a lot about our wisdom. There are people who at times never know to communicate. Communication is usually verbal and non-verbal. There's a way you communicate to an old person. There's a way you communicate to a minor. There's a way you communicate to an age mate. There's a way you communicate to maybe a customer. There's a way you communicate to maybe your employer. There are there's needed a lot of wisdom in our communication, because you need to differentiate how you talk to a parent, how you talk to an elderly person, how you talk to someone in authority, how you talk to someone in leadership, how you talk to a minor, how you talk to your age mate. There's some people at times who never know to differentiate all those, and it's something that is very important, because there's a way you address someone and it gets to speak a lot about that person. So let's try as much as possible to be wise on our communication, because communication is one thing that gets to judge our wisdom. Because there's a way someone will speak, especially there's a way, even if maybe it's non-verbally, maybe through SMS, through maybe written documents, there's a way someone will communicate and you'll be like, hey, I don't think this person is wise. How can you communicate in such a manner? So, especially to elders, there's a way you communicate to someone who is elderly. Either he or she is your parent or not, there's a way you communicate to such a person. There's a way you address such a person. There's a certain kind of respect you give to this person, because in one or another, you respect his age. It takes wisdom at times to just not handle everyone the same. There are people you just see how they address people, how you just abuse people, and you just get to respond to people. You get to be surprised. Communication is something that is very important at times in relation to our wisdom. Something else is in relation to maybe to communication, how we at times relate our conversation. There are some people you be with in the conversation, and in one way or another, you never desire to ever be in a conversation with that person again. We need to have wisdom. We need to at times have good skills in our conversation. Things to do with turn taking. There are some people at times in a conversation, they will never give you a chance at times to speak out your point. They always feel they need to be speaking. It's always good to be in that point that after you give your point, you always give the other person to always give his or her idea. Maybe you either side by it, or maybe you reject it, or maybe at times you say, according to me, this is my. At times it's always very important to always be there to give the other person a chance to also communicate. Maybe you're in a point, you are 3 or 4, be sensitive to everyone who is there. There are some people who are introverts, and in one or another, they will not be able to like shout or maybe be there to be always the one giving the first point. And it's always good in a conversation, always be there to ensure everyone is communicating freely. Everyone has that free access to the maybe conversation at hand. Because wisdom is always needed in such. Because there are some people who will always be the one speaking. Then you are always the one. The first point is yours, the second will be yours, the fourth, the sixth. Then you are always there speaking. It's always good to be sensitive. Don't be the one who is like overtaking the conversation. That's about conversation. Something else that maybe is still relates to conversation. At times it's always very important to always know maybe when to quit a certain conversation, when to change the topic, or maybe even when to stop the conversation. It also takes wisdom. You'll be talking about something and you realize maybe you're the only one who is interested in that conversation. Everyone else is not even said into it. Everyone else is not even giving ideas to the same. It's good to be wise and know that it's time to change the topic. It's time to just get to the end of this conversation, because no one is really interested into it. It takes wisdom, and you have to be very sensitive at times to know it's time to end this conversation. It's time to start another conversation. It's time maybe even to end the entire maybe meeting or the entire talk that you had. There are some people at times who will never be there to read the mind of the other people. You'll be talking about a certain issue. You'll see everyone is bored. Everyone is not even taking sides on anything. You have to be wise and know it's time maybe to end the conversation. It's time to say it's enough for today. That one goes on maybe in communication and conversation. Something else that still relates to conversation is, at times, you may be talking about a certain issue, and in one way or another, you realize maybe there's one person who has no insight to the same. Have you ever, maybe you are talking about a parent, and maybe you didn't know maybe one person in that group or that meeting you had, maybe that person has no parents, or that person doesn't have a mom or a dad. and you're there maybe speaking about how your mom used to be this, your mom used to be this. So everyone is so glad and so excited, giving the insights about, when we were young, my mom used to do this. When I was young, my mom used to do this. And at times you get to wonder how people become so insensitive. You'll be in a conversation of 5 or 6 people. You realize there's this one person. She is not giving maybe insight. Or maybe you get to know this person in one or another. Maybe he or she lost the mom when he was young or she was young. And you become so insensitive, you're so okay continuing with the same conversation. At times it's always good to know how to change the conversation in a way that this partner will not feel affected, and you'll be able to be like, you're not putting this person out of praise. There's also this issue, maybe you're talking about, maybe you are friends, you are common friends, and there is one other person or two other people who joined you. And another, you're talking about maybe a trip you ever went somewhere. Maybe there's a time you went to a certain trip, to a certain place, and you just discussing how the place was good, how everything was a vibe, how you did this, you did this. So everyone has an insight to this conversation. But there is one person or two people who aren't there. What do you expect them to be talking about? How do you expect them to feel okay in that meeting or in that gathering you are in? There are some people who will never be there to care about the other person. That person wasn't there. Why are you even discussing the issue? And everyone in that meeting wasn't in that trip or in that place where you are in. I always find this conversation of maybe people who are in campus. There are these sweet stories that you always be talking about. Hey, in our campus we used to do this, in our campus this and this used to happen. And not everyone who got that opportunity to be in campus. So at times when you're talking about how you used to do this, always have that thought of, is everyone who is here, did they get that chance or that opportunity to be in campus? Do they have something maybe they can chip in? Maybe after high school they just went maybe to work life and all that. So what do you expect them to be talking about? It is usually very insensitive, and I always find it so long because there are some people at times they are so excited about whatever they are talking about. And maybe you're there, you have nothing you can talk about. You just like, when will these people end this conversation? So it takes a lot of wisdom at times to get to mind the other person. At times you tell, by the way, you tell that person who is out. And one or another, it's good to be wise and to get to know that it's maybe because the thing you're talking about, he or she has nothing to relate about. So it's usually very important, especially that issue of parents. At times, it's usually very hard. Someone just comes in, maybe in one or another we know each other, and he gets or she gets to sit in the other chair. Now we become four. It takes a lot of wisdom as a person. When that other fourth person comes, for this person to feel okay and to feel now he or she is safe in the environment he or she is in, it's always very important to do a little introduction. You know what? Meet so and so, he is my friend. And my friend, meet these two people. This is so and so. Maybe we studied with in campus, maybe we were with in high school. Maybe she's my colleague at work. Maybe in a certain time we got to know like such. And this one is so and so. Maybe we live together in a certain place. By doing that, you make now the four of us will feel we are just in a very free environment. And when you're talking freely. But in this place you just get to, and no one is even introducing you to the place. You feel you're out of place. At times it's always good to do that simple introduction. Meet so and so, meet so and so, meet so and so. Cause you're the common person in this place. I met you guys. There's no way I'll just come and chip into your discussions and chip into your talks. I don't know whatever you're talking about. I even don't know maybe the non-familiar faces. Make me, who maybe I've come in late or I've just met you in an ongoing conversation, make me feel free. Make me feel safe. At least I'm in a safe place. So it's always good at times to have those little introductions. Just say, this is Leah, this is Mercy, and Mercy and Leah, this is so and so. And you make the four of us have a free environment. This is something at times most people don't do. And you not be free chipping in even to a conversation because it's a place that you feel like you're out. You feel you just not fair. There's something else which is also relating to communication and relation to people. Maybe I get to visit somewhere. Maybe I visit a friend. Me myself, I'm a Kikuyu. I visited a friend who is from a different tribe. And in one or another, whenever we are having conversation, we will be talking in a common language. We'll be there talking maybe Kiswahili or English, or maybe a language that you two can freely communicate. And let's say this person has maybe a sister or a brother they live with in their house, and in one or another, so they are of the same tribe. It's not good to have conversation with your mother tongue when I'm in the presence, because in one or another, I don't hear your language. There's this notion that will always come to me. What is that you're talking that you don't want me to hear? I'm the new person here. You welcome me to your house. You welcome me into your space. Why are you speaking in a different language that I don't hear? It is usually very insensitive. And it's something that usually happens a lot, by the way. This is something that actually really happens. And we need to avoid it a lot. At times it's always good and it's always very wise to communicate in a common language. A language that everyone feels like free. And this is an issue that always people mostly talk about when we talk about intermarriages. You are like, I don't want to be married in a place where people will be talking about things that I don't know. When will I know when they are talking ill about me? I get married maybe to that other culture. They will be talking about they will be talking issues maybe with their language. Something that myself I can't hear. How will I be assured that they are not talking ill about me? So at times in each and every gathering you get to have, you have this sister of yours, I have my sister here, I welcome someone, this person does not hear my mother tongue. It's not the time me and my sister to keep discussing our things. Even if I'm telling her, go prepare the guest tea, let me tell her in English. Even if I'm telling my sister, I'm telling that other person who we talk in the same language, give this and this to our guests. I need to tell this person with the language even the third person is hearing. At times there are people who are very insensitive. At times they will even be talking stories. Everything they are communicating with their mother tongue. Or there's something I always ask myself, what do you expect the other person to be doing? Maybe this person is even in a new place. You get to visit somewhere, those people are not you're not from the same place, so you don't speak the same the similar mother tongue. I'm the new one here, I'm the guest here. What do you expect me to be doing? I'm in a new place. You're talking something that I'm not even hearing. At least maybe you are watching something, and maybe the insights they are giving to whatever you guys are watching. You are watching maybe the 4 of you or the 3 of you, and there are these people who the side chats that they are having in their mother tongue, and they will keep telling you, we are not saying something bad. How sure am I? How do I know you're not saying something bad? I can't hear. How sure can I be? Why can't you just talk something that I can hear? You make me feel free. You make me feel in a good space. Even for those people who have intermarried, this is something that I like to touch in. At times maybe I'm a Kikuyu, I get married maybe to a Luo. And in one or another, there will be times when maybe a sister of mine or a cousin or whoever will come to visit me maybe in my house. I have my husband here who is a Luo. I have my sister who has visited, and we are Kikuyus. He is there. Maybe we are sitting in the sit room with the 3 of us. I know very well my husband cannot hear Kikuyu. And I'll be very okay me here with my sisters. Oh, we're just into stories. And we're talking in our mother tongue. Surely. At times, it's very wrong to be that insensitive. It's very wrong to be that insensitive. In one or another, I may want to show my husband that I'm not talking anything that is bad. I'm not speaking anything that is bad. We are not maybe even like backbiting him. But how assured is he? How assured is he that we are not talking anything new? How can I assure him? He can't hear. He can't hear. So at times it's good. Generalize the environment. Let the environment be cool for everyone. It takes a lot of wisdom to do that. And it shows how wise you are. It shows at times you have a certain level of wisdom because you are sensitive to that person. That is something that also relates maybe to communication and such like. There's something else that I would like us to touch on. This is at times knowing at times to mind your business. This is something that I keep insisting again and again. There are some questions you don't keep on asking people. You know, there's some people who want to know everything. Don't be so pressuring on someone. You and what happened? And this and this and this. At times you're even not okay to share out some things. It's not yet time for you to even speak up. And there's this other person who is like, you're really so inquisitive. You want to know everything. You just asking at times very long questions.
it's usually very bad at times. It's good to be wise to a point that you don't want to like address some questions just so directly. You get maybe someone isn't okay. That is not a time, maybe at times, to keep on asking some peculiar questions. At times it's even good to go and ask a friend of a friend. By the way, on a certain day, I saw a certain person behave in a certain manner. Maybe what could be the issue? Do you know, maybe but you don't just go directly asking that person. Maybe the other person will tell you, oh sorry, you know, maybe the reason why he or she was behaving a certain way, it's because this and this had happened, it's because this and this has happened. But it's wrong, it's so unwise to just go direct to a person. By the way, today, this and this and this. Yes, it may be someone you are free to, but maybe that person was not ready to share that thing at that point. Maybe that person is still hurting. Maybe that person is still in a point that he cannot be able to disclose the thing. It's still so emotional to that person. He or she feels maybe when he or she starts speaking about it, it will continue maybe like hurt or such. There are some questions you never ask to people. And in relation to that, there are some things I would like maybe to address. One is dealing with someone who is grieving. There are some things you don't ask someone who is grieving. There is an address you don't give to someone who is grieving. At times we say, if you have nothing else you can say, it's always good to keep quiet. It's good to be in their presence, just being there. But at times that is not a time of asking questions, or maybe how do you feel, or maybe at times it's always good to give such a person that space. And at times, how we deal with people who are grieving, they also tell us of how wise and how unwise we are. There are things you don't speak to someone who is grieving. There's a way you don't address to someone who is grieving. There's at times some reactions you don't give to someone who is grieving, because grieving is something that at times you can never tell the level that person is in. As much as you may try to understand, you cannot understand, because you never know the level. Maybe the person who has left, however, maybe they were together, the relation and all that. So it's always very important to know how to deal with a grieving person. There's also something else. There are some things you don't ask to a pregnant woman. There's some way you don't address to a pregnant woman. You don't go to ask a pregnant woman, Kwani, you mean you have not yet given birth? There are some things you don't ask a pregnant woman. There are some things, in one or another, there's a way you need to address someone who is expectant. It's not a time of maybe telling, hey, and you have become big. You know, it's wrong. It's so insensitive at times how we speak to maybe an expectant woman. There's some way you just address her with love. Maybe your pregnancy is something at times that changes your face. It changes maybe even your entire body and all that. It's good at times you will observe something, but don't tell that person directly. In one or another, you may never know how you hurt that person. That is a point of life that someone is usually very emotional. At times, anything that is being told to you can affect you. So there are some things you not speak to your pregnant woman. There are some things at times that you don't, even you won't want them maybe to hear them from you. That's a time of love. It's a time of showing compassion. It's a time of being there. Yani, show that person love. Don't ask them, when will you give birth? Maybe you have not yet given birth. Don't be there to keep on asking them about the gender. Don't be there to keep, there are some questions you don't ask them. Let them, if they are free to come and tell you, let them tell you. But you don't come asking them. Maybe you see a woman who is pregnant. Maybe the previous year or the other, she was pregnant. And you'll be there getting maybe to ask her why maybe she has gotten pregnant closely and maybe the other child is not that old. That is none of your business. It's not good at times to know to mind our own business. There's something else we don't get to ask people, especially someone who is waiting, or who been waiting. A mom who is there, maybe she got married, maybe it has been 2-3 years. It's not a time of maybe asking her why she has not gotten a child. That is something that at times happens a lot. Yes, I've gotten married. It's 2-3 years. It's 4 years. You come in to ask me why I don't have a child. How do you know maybe that I've been trying? You don't know. You don't know maybe the decision I made when I got married. Maybe I want to first have 5 years, then get a kid. Maybe I've been trying. It's also my wish. I also desire to have that kid. And that is not a time at times to keep on asking such questions. No. It's good to learn to mind our own business. There are some things we don't ask people. There are some things that will show how wise we are. Yeah, you'll be sensitive in a way that you want that person to feel in a good space. Yeah, you don't ask a couple in waiting when they'll get their firstborn. No, you don't know whenever they are going through. You don't know. That is not a time of asking a couple when they are getting their firstborn. No, that is something you don't do. Something else that at times we don't do is how we also act or we relate with someone, with a mom or a couple that have a special child. There are some questions you don't ask a couple or a mom raising a special child, because it's never easy at times. Kids are usually born with so many issues at times, and there are some things you don't ask a mom, or questions you don't ask a mom who has such a child, because you're not helping her in one way or another. So it's good at times to just leave those comments. If you know it's something that is insensitive, just keep quiet, just don't speak. At times I say being quiet hurts no one. It's good at times you just be there, be quiet, just show comfort and all that, but it's not a time of asking very insensitive questions. There are questions at times you'll get to hear someone ask and you'll be like, why are you this insensitive? Why are you this insensitive? Especially anything to do with children. Anything concerning children is not something that you need to keep on being so inquisitive about. There are times, maybe as a parent, you get to have a kid. There's some kids, but at times they become so immoral. At times they become. So, as I was saying, anything concerning a child is something that you shouldn't at times be so inquisitive about, because at times there are children who become chaotic. Bringing them up becomes issues. At times as a parent, not that you're so okay about it. Maybe a child has become so indisciplined. Maybe a child has joined drugs and all that. Maybe even a child has gotten maybe to early pregnancy when maybe she is still in school. And at times you keep on like hurting the mom or the dad. There's some things you don't speak to such a parent. Yeah, children is something that at times you need to be very reserved about. You can have your comments, you can have your insights, but don't come to share to the parents. You never know whatever the parent is going through. Yes, at least it's sickness of a certain child. You're coming there, you keep on telling the mother or the dad, have you tried this? This isn't something maybe to do with where you have come from. Maybe go to a certain doctor, maybe go and consult a certain sujui who. Yeah, at times you come with so many ideas. You know, the reason your child is not doing this, maybe the reason your child maybe was born like this is because of this, is because of this. Who asked you, by the way? Who asked you? Who told you that the mother has not tried? Who told you that the mother or the dad is okay with the situation that the kid is in? You know, at times you come with so many ideas and you don't know whatever the family is going through also. They have also tried, actually. And maybe it's bothering you for 1 minute. This is a child who, the mom and the dad, they stay with 24/7. So if you feel you have insights and you have maybe advice you can give, just know that they have tried. So don't be there giving advice. Maybe you have a sick person in your family, and at times people will come with so many advices. So you go to Pastor who? So you take them to where? So you go give them this. So you do this. At times it's good to be quiet. You don't know whatever they have tried. You don't know. It's always good at times to be reserved. It shows at times how wise you are. Wisdom is something that is very important. And at times we say wisdom, you don't get to learn it in school. There are some people at times who are very knowledgeable. They have a lot of degrees, they have masters and all that. And they are not wise at all. They don't know how to relate with people. Wisdom is judged by however you know to relate with the next person. How sensitive you are to the other person. At times, the kind of judgment you give to a certain issue, the kind of judgment you give, the way you address people, it tells of much of how wise you are. So let's learn to be wise. There are some things you never sit down and be taught in school, but they are very critical in the life we are in. So in this school of life, you have to keep on teaching yourself some things. You have to. At times, there's something I always say, it's always good to know when to give advice and when not to give advice. It's good to give advice, but always know when to advise someone. This is also very insensitive at times to always be there giving advices. Who told you that person needed your advice? You don't know. Maybe the advice you're giving, you even hurting that person, because you're telling them to do something they have tried a million times and it's not working. So at times it's always good to be very sensitive. Know whatever to address directly, know whatever to address indirectly. Know whatever to use a friend, know whatever to come directly to that person. It takes a lot of wisdom, and we say wisdom comes from God, and at times you have to learn it. You learn there are some things, interpersonal skills we have to learn in this life, because at times we are hurting people so much, and it's so long. Yeah, so that is all about wisdom. I know it entails much, but according to me, those are the things that I felt at times it is very important to take notes, and at times to just know how wise we can address such issues. Thank you so much for your time. I'm glad and excited that you came in. For those maybe who have not subscribed, you can consider doing it. And until next time, bye. Love you guys.